Afternoon, everyone, and definitely would like to thank AIOC and Scientific Committee for having me here for this for this talk and for wonderful meeting. So I'm coming 8 to 10 minutes. I'm going through this talk of imaging for microbial keratitis, and there's no financial disclosure. So as we know that we are using OCT as previously mentioned in the last talk, use of OCT for planning of keratoconus and others. But we are also use for follow-up of for microbial keratitis, as we see in this particular patient that it was a plaque, and in follow-up there was basically disappearance of the plaque. And also for depth of infection, because many times now we are planning, suppose that we are planning for DALK, or we are planning for collagen cross-linking or PDAT, recent advances in microbial keratitis, then exact measurement of microbial keratitis and for follow-up, this is very important to have a clear-cut marcation of infiltrate, and the OCT actually helps in that particular study. Similarly, in patients of acanthamoeba keratitis, on follow-up and planning for DELK, as I discussed before, we can use it for depth. But important thing is these diagnoses are important for making diagnosis as well as for planning. Like this case of microbial keratitis underwent treatment for almost 15 to 20 days, and when presented to us was not having any epithelial defect. And on sclerotic scatter examination, you can see there are a lot of multiple mild to moderate pinhead lesions along with anterior, basically mid-stromal infiltration. So those are actually, as we know with our experience, that first differential will come as a fungus, but how to prove it, whether to go for biopsy or endoscraping with the basically all invasive techniques. In confocal, actually, it came out to be like fungal filaments, as you can see. These are the branching filaments at the mid-stromal level, and we can confirm the diagnosis, and on treatment with intrastromal and intracameral medication, this patient resolved. So this was basically one of the way to get the diagnosis. And this is one of the patient who was basically a 70-year-old lady, underwent cataract surgery elsewhere, and came to us with a history of 1.5 months using of steroids. And the treating team was thinking in line of TASS and using Predfort, basically prednisolone acetate 1% for almost 2 to 3 hourly, and for almost 1 month. It's not resolving. But there was no as such epithelial defect to scrape, but we still tried from the periphery, and we could not get any organism. So we did confocal, and confocal it revealed plenty of full of fungal filaments without much of inflammation, and that was expected because of the use of intensive steroids. So as we stopped the steroids, this patient next day onwards starts showing, as I written here, 21, 22, 23, 24. So this is in third day of stopping steroid. This presentation is basically a sort of ring infiltrate, and we underwent urgent therapeutic keratoplasty, and fortunately we could save the eye of this lady. So basically, it shows the importance of early diagnosis with the help of non-invasive technique when you're not sure about the organism. Particularly this case of interface keratitis of patient underwent DSEC, and after 3 weeks of DSEC on routine examination, I observed a small opacity in the interface, basically a white fluffy interface opacity, anything which was not there and coming suspect infection in an interface keratitis. And it was on OCT, you can see a small interface opacification, but on follow-up, this was increasing, and on confirmation from interface scraping, it came out to be Candida glabrata, and came out, and we underwent finally therapeutic keratoplasty to improve this. Similarly, this patient was basically was being managed as gynomatous uveitis previously, but was not having any lesion to scrape. But on OCT, on an examination, you can see a lot of filaments, filamentary sort of infiltrate around in the anterior chamber. And on OCT, you can see there are a lot of filamentary, which was basically whether it was a fungal filaments we are seeing or filamentary sort of exudate, On confocal, it confirmed that this is a fungal filament. Around AC tap also it was confirmed. So this was a patient, another patient where it was nothing to scrape, but on confocal it came out to be fungal filament. On anterior portion only inflammatory cells, but the posterior stroma was full of fungal filaments. Similarly, was found confirmed one in histopathology also that the stroma was anteriorly was having anterior stromal cells and posterior was a lot of fungal filaments. This is the patient of Pythium keratitis, and you can't actually diagnose confirmatory on confocal examination. And but yes, you can have some idea with the repeated examination that this is the confocal of Pythium keratitis. Particularly useful this entity is in terms of tunnel infections, where basically all the infiltrates are the posterior stromal, and on confocal we can get organisms like this patient revealed finally a nocardia infection, and treated successfully with the use of amikacin without surgical intervention. So basically, we have to be little used to with this non-invasive technique to confirm between all these filaments, because so many aspergillus or fusarium you can't actually diagnose it, but on repeated examination you can pick up certain telltale signs to confirm between the Pythium, fusarium as well as aspergillus, which are most common organisms. But most important thing is to rule out and to differentiate from the subbasal nerves and stromal nerves. As you can see, also need to differentiate from the scarring as well as from the fungal filaments. One important organism which is again can be usefully picked up by use of confocal or non-invasive technique is acanthamoeba. Like this girl of I think 10 years old having a ring infiltrate, and basically sort of double ring infiltrate, classically looks like acanthamoeba, but could not get any organisms, but actually confirmed on a confocal plenty of cysts like a structure, and came out finally at acanthamoeba keratitis. So this patient resolved. Yeah, I think time is up, so maybe another 1 minute if you can
Go ahead, go ahead.
of the country. Okay, so one more entity which I thought of, this chronic acanthamoeba stromal keratitis, which is not commonly described as HSV stromal keratitis, but I observe many patients like this. Patient resolved on acanthamoeba treatment of almost 8 to 9 months, but on confocal plenty of cysts were available, and similar was confirmed on histopathology as well. So basically, to diagnose and to not only diagnose but to study the histopathology as well as pathogenesis and to understand many research questions, you need basically this sort of information. Similarly, this was basically a case of undiagnosed acanthamoeba keratitis, many times diagnosed as viral keratitis and being treated as viral keratitis with steroids, and came out to be acanthamoeba. Only I could see 1 or 2 cysts, but on PHMB and closed it got resolved completely. Similarly, on one of the other organisms, which is like not very commonly seen, but if you suspect it, you can diagnose it with certainty, either with either with biopsy or with the help of confocal. Like this is the case which was basically underwent biopsy, but came out to be both in both ways, and biopsy as well as on confocal plenty of microsporidias. In herpes simplex virus keratitis, not to diagnose but to follow and to understand the pathophysiology and to understand many research questions related to HSV keratitis, we tend to use these non-invasive techniques, and also to follow these patients, particularly to pick up subtle signs of endotheliitis as well as stromal keratitis. We need non-invasive technique. So I would just like to thank